It's your boy, JBACS, back at it again for Pork Puck Hockey, where we talk hockey and only hockey. After that long hiatus, we have finally returned to some NHL action, meaning we have something to talk about. But first, let's give a big thanks to our boys over at Sunreaver for that sick intro you heard. And we have hockey, so we can talk hockey all we want. First up, we're going to hit you why we were on a pause, obviously. Coronavirus, everybody knows what was going on there. But many of us thought there wasn't going to be a return to hockey. And lo and behold, here we have it. We're already into the qualifying rounds. So, bubble hockey. Interesting thought. They're living in Toronto and Edmonton for the Eastern and Western conferences, respectively. And they're all staying in a few hotels and have video games and food and activities that they can do, but must be within reason for the current situation. So, kind of cool. And things are being really well as they have had 0 positive cases for coronavirus since the whole restart training camp has gone. So we're going to hit you with some hockey news right off the bat here. The Devils, New Jersey Devils, have hired Lindy Ruff as their head coach. That was one of the big things that has been going on since the pause, and good for them. Hopefully he can get the boys back to the playoffs and get some boys like Hughes and Heischer to get going and scoring some goals, and maybe they can make a run here in the next year or two. Next up, we're going to talk about the regular season awards. And this year, we had a tie for the Rocket Richard with 48 goals apiece between Alexander Ovechkin and David Pastrnak. So the weird thing here is they did play those warm-up games, if you will. And the big conversation going on there is, should they count? Should they be a actual NHL point? Because if so, Alexander Ovechkin would have gotten to his 50 goal mark, and I'm sure more guys could have gotten points there to their totals. The next award we're going to talk about is Leon Draisaitl winning the Art Ross with 110 points. He could have surpassed that number. And then you got guys like McDavid who could have been at the 100 point season yet again. So, very interesting topic. And not really sure why they didn't count those few games before the actual qualifier and round robin started. So, interesting to me, but we'll see what they do with that. I don't think anything will change, but that's where we're at. So yeah, cool. Next up, as we mentioned, Leon Draisaitl won the Art Ross this year with 110 points. He and his teammate Connor McDavid had a heck of a year out there in Edmonton. Those boys were putting pucks in back and forth, making passes, leading the team to greatness. And always some filthy mitts out there for those two. But Draisaitl won the Art Ross. The Boston Bruins won the President's Trophy this year with 100 points at the time of the pause. Pretty good season. We'll see if they can continue on into the playoffs here and maybe even get themselves a Stanley Cup. Next up, we got Tuukka Rask and Yaroslav Halak, and they're going to win the Williams-Jennings Trophy this year for the fewest goals against between a duo. Pretty good season again for the Bruins, so these two goaltenders are very solid. They can pretty much replace each other, one for the other, and we'll see. We'll see how they do come playoff time here. Next up, we're going to talk about the draft lottery this year. It was a weird season, so of course, draft lottery is going to be even weirder. So the bottom teams in the league did not make it. Were 7 teams who did not make it to the bubble hockey and continue to play. So the bottom 7 teams, obviously you would think one of those guys would be getting that number 1 overall pick. Well, you thought wrong. It's going to be one of the 8 teams who are actually playing in the qualifying rounds. And they have a 12.5% chance to win this number 1 overall pick. So you could see Sidney Crosby playing with Alexis Lafreniere next year, or you could see somebody like Connor McDavid playing with Alexis Lafreniere. So either way, you're going to see a superstar teaming up with Lafreniere in his rookie year next year. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. We got some sad news in the hockey world as legend Toronto Maple Leaf Eddie Shack has passed away. He was an awesome guy. I didn't actually watch him play, but heard some interviews and read some news about him. And he was just a great guy, apparently, in the community and did some great things for hockey. And he was also a gritty, all around player. So, condolences to his family and friends. And what a life for Eddie Shack. Well, we're going to talk about some current state of hockey right now. We're going to discuss the current series standings. We're going to talk about how the games of the day are today, and we're also going to talk about what's going on. First up, we're going to talk about rookie Dominik Kubalik of the Chicago Blackhawks has set a record with 5 points in his rookie debut in the playoffs. The man went out there and just showed off for the team. Next up, another man who's shown off for his team, Svechnikov, down in Carolina, has the first hat trick in the Carolina Hurricanes playoffs history. And they're doing well. They're pretty good. And Svechnikov, he's out there showing the team how it's done and getting some goals, burying them in the net. Next up, we're going to talk about a couple things that are a little weird here still. There's players that are unfit to play. And it's just a weird time. Hockey is ever changing here. The world is ever changing with this coronavirus. And who knows who's going to be sick. But so far, as I said, they have not had any positive tests. So nobody's been kicked out of the bubble yet. And very interesting. So let's go take a look at what we got going on in the world of hockey today with the series. Right now, playing are the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Toronto leads 1-0. Later tonight, we got Calgary and Winnipeg facing off in a tie series 1-1. And then after that, 8 o'clock Eastern tonight, Carolina looks to finish off the New York Rangers. The Rangers make a desperate move and start Igor Shesterkin over Henrik Lundqvist in tonight's game, and we'll see if that can get the boys some momentum. Maybe the breadman, Artemi Panarin, can get out there and notch a few goals. And then the late game tonight, Minnesota leads the series 1-0, and they face off Vancouver at 10:45. So the other series, we got a tie series between Nashville and Arizona at 1 game apiece. The New York Islanders look tomorrow to sweep the Florida Panthers in a 2-0 series lead. Another qualifying round is Pittsburgh and Montreal tied 1 apiece. Edmonton and Chicago tied 1 apiece. Those games have been high-scoring, flying affairs as they have scored 5 goals or more in each game for both teams. Actually, I believe the one score, they only had 4 goals, but still a lot of goals going on there. And we'll see what happens. Vegas, St. Louis, that's a non-qualifying round-robin game. So the round-robin games are very good to see how the teams return to play. And that's about it for the playoffs. We're going to talk about my predictions here. So I'd like to see the end of these series here so I could make some actual playoff predictions, if you will. But let's talk about qualifying rounds. I see Minnesota beating Vancouver. That might not be a popular opinion, but we'll see. I see Pittsburgh beating Montreal in that series. Another tight 5-12 series there. I see Toronto beating Columbus in their series. I see Edmonton holding on to beat Chicago, which that's a tight one. And I see Carolina defeating New York in that series. I see Carolina getting the sweep, actually. Unfortunately, King Hank there might be his last shot here, and unfortunately, he might not be making it out of the qualifying round. Arizona, I see them defeating Nashville in 5 games. That one's going to go the whole way, Pabba. And let's see, who else are we forgetting? Calgary and Winnipeg. I see Winnipeg ultimately winning that series. Yeah, they have some injuries going on there, but I think they can do it as they have Connor Hellebuck, one of the Vezina finalists this year. Great goaltender, great quick player, good goalie. We'll see. That's about all I have for current games and stuff. And if we want to go back and review the standings here, how the league finished at the pause, the Eastern Conference was as follows: Boston with 100 points, Tampa Bay with 92, Washington with 90, Philadelphia with 4 at 89, and that rounds out your top 4 playing in the round robin tournament here. And then to round out the rest of that Eastern Conference, playing in the qualifying round: Pittsburgh 86 points, Carolina 81 points, New York Islanders 80 points, Toronto 81 points, Columbus 81 points, Florida 78, New York Rangers 79, and the Montreal Canadiens 71. And then rounding out the rest of the Eastern Conference would be Buffalo, New Jersey, Ottawa, and Detroit. Head on out west, and the number 1 seed at the pause was St. Louis with 94 points, Colorado with 92 points, Vegas with 86 points, Dallas with 82 points. And that rounded out your top 4 for the round robin. And then in the playoff qualifying round, Edmonton 83, Nashville 78, Vancouver 78, Calgary 79, Winnipeg 80, Minnesota 77, Arizona 74, Chicago 72, Anaheim was the last, or Anaheim actually didn't make it. They were the first eliminated with 67 points, Los Angeles 64, and San Jose with 63. Well, folks, that's all I got. Quick rundown of the state of the league there, how the series are going, how the hockey world is going to play out. We shall see. They got a very good thing going here in the bubble up in Canada. So for that, we'll see you next week, hopefully. And have another show for you with some more information. Maybe we'll see the lay of the land for the actual Stanley Cup playoffs. That'll do it. I'm your boy, JBACS, and we'll catch you next time.